Creativity is inventing, experimenting, breaking rules, making mistakes, and having fun. This is the undiscovered story. This is the Blues Traveler, and for this episode we have one of the hottest indie rock band here from Bandung, Indonesia. Please welcome the Hollowcane. Apa kabar guys?
Sehat.
Oke, buat Hobotalks audience, gue Mega nih apa ya? Temen lama ya gue? Temen lama, terus kita sempat punya beberapa project music lah. Nah, cuman yang mencolok dari band ini, mereka punya warna yang sama Ega nih. Kalian skateboarder semua ya? Ada ya. Anjar, Ilham, Ega, sama Diki nih. Yang gue tahu ada kesamaan skateboard.
Yang ini poser tadi.
Oh lu poser? Oh, oke.
Topet.
Oh topet.
Ilham main skateboard nanti jago.
Oke. Untung Aing memilih bisa, we. Jadi mau dibully gitu ya. Kalau in between konsekuensinya itu.
Ilham main skateboard.
Oke. Boleh cerita sedikit nggak backgroundnya dari skateboard ke musik?
Sebenarnya kenapa milih lagunya kayak si Hollowcane sekarang ini genrenya? Dulu tuh kita tahun 2000-an ya suka dengerin lagi nonton video One video magazine. Okay. Itu ada kayak video magazine di US. Nah si soundtracknya tuh memang sejenis
video magazine untuk skateboard.
Okay. Nah soundtracknya tuh dulu kita sering lihat tuh biasanya di credit title kan ada tuh banyak.
Ya benar.
Lagunya tuh hampir sama kayak lagu yang kita main sekarang si genre.
Oke. Apa sih yang jadi reference kayak musik-musik kayak you name it, misalkan band apa?
Kalau kita berdua ada The Dodos, ada Doves, terus apa ya? Alexis on Fire, wah anjing.
Asan tuh ya tapi orang nggak masih ada kan ya dodo sih ya gue dengerin
ya. Terus apa Animal Collective sejarah Animal Collective, terus banyak keluar.
Iya, being honest tuh kalian tuh sebenarnya di luar katalog gue. Tapi ya gue bilang Hobotalks tuh khasnya satu buat gue musik yang gue rasa personal taste gue tuh harusnya acceptance di luar lebih gede. Pertama gue lihat lagu kalian dengan visual yang luar biasa gitu, buat gue kayak anjing ya Ben, aing kudu ngondang. Kan gitu ya gak kayak lu ngerasa gitu gak sih kalau walaupun kita temenan, kalau ya I'm proud friend kalau mau skateboard lu
appreciate
gitu. Appreciate gitu. Jadi temenan nomor berapa. Bonusnya buat gue kayak musiknya asik. Gue kenal orangnya, gue langsung ngotak, gak, gue mau buat project Hollowcane. Gue bilang kayak lagu ini tuh visualnya khas dia banget sih. I don't know, khas Ega banget buat gue yang
folk sih ya sebenarnya basicnya tuh ya.
Iya. Kayak gue seneng folk tapi lebih roots, kayak gue dengerin Dylan, terus dengerin John Baez. Yang Ega yang kenalin kayak Matt Costa, terus kayak gitu-gitu lah memang. Proses kreatifnya gimana, Ga?
Sebenarnya berawal dari
gue tuh mau ngomong tapi gue tahan deh. Iya beak sih mana enggak. Oke.
Sebenarnya emang dari dulu kan sempat bikin beberapa project lah dulu sama teman-teman. Sama Anjar juga dulu pernah punya band hardcore, terus sama temen sama Dida bikin band folk juga.
Dida kemana dia?
Sama Dida, sama Oki, terus sama yang lain lah banyak kan, terus sama Atir juga bikin folk lagi, terus sempat kepikiran tuh kayaknya sekarang lagi pengen pakai gitar elektrik gitu. Akhirnya dulu saya ngajakin Diki tuh, dulu tuh Diki temen SMA
kelas di SMA.
Jadi
Actually waktu Whiskey and Wine pun gue sering ini Diki sih. Kalau Anjar jelas lah. Lu gue sering denger nama si Diki gitu kan. Oke.
Sesuai dengan bajunya. Terus
Cimindi berarti Cimindi.
Cimindi tuh kalau
Juicy Press ya. Musuh SMA aing kan lu. Aing salapan aja gitu. Terus.
Ya akhirnya tuh Ki, ayolah kita ngejam lah, saya punya lagu nih. Tapi dulu ceritanya masih pengen berdua. Saya sama Diki aja, belum ketemu Ilham, belum mikirin Anjar, belum ada Mario dulu.
Gara-gara Dodos berdua.
Jadi saya tuh bisa main drum.
Terus akhirnya main tuh ngejam berdua gitu. Terus oke, tapi tengenaheun memang Dodos mah jago ya. Mereka tuh emang skillnya levelnya di atas, tapi kita berdua kan
musician.
Ya bukan the real musician lah. Terus akhirnya kurang kayaknya harus cari orang nih satu nih. Itu terakhir masih namain bass nih kayaknya sama yang nyanyi. Dulu tuh belum berani nyanyi, Tir, secara kamu sering membuli aku menyanyi.
Lama emang goreng. Mun ayeuna aman lah.
Bukan menyanyi tuh.
Kan main-band tuh ada yang technical stuff. Kalau lu ngomongin Josh Groban, kayak Andre Bocelli, ada yang cukup keren punya attitude. Namanya didinya. Aing didinya mau main aman, aing didinya. Boga attitude.
Nah, akhirnya ngajakin Rangga Cepot tuh dulu bandnya apa namanya?
Oh iya.
Namanya sih. Si Doi.
Salapan, budak salapan bisa banget.
Iya, kan sengaja gitu kan. Si Rangga terus nyanyi, Tir. Rangga main bass sambil nyanyi. Akhirnya kita sempet latihan bertiga. Wah, enak-enak cukup bikin lagu, udah 3 lagu. Terus akhirnya si Rangga gawe Jakarta, terus ini kayaknya kegalauan ini harus disalurkan. Akhirnya
gimana tuh korban kalau si Ega aja
tapi jadi album.
Yang penting ada positifnya lah. Nah, akhirnya ketemu sama Doni tuh dulu bandnya band sama Dida. Doni Tami. Akhirnya Doni tuh produser lah. Akhirnya dibantuin tuh recording selagu. Awalnya cuma bikin selagu, kita bikin selagu, bikinlah Son of the Mountain itu, bikin selagu beres.
Ya lagu yang gue pertama denger tuh itu sih.
Terus kayak kayaknya nanggung nggak? Don minggu depan kosong nggak? Kosong mas. Akhirnya minggu depan. Terus setiap hari Sabtu kita recording. Nah, saya masih belum Diki karena lagi kerja di luar kota. Saya sama Mas Doni berdua aja terus bikin lagu. Jadi Jumat bikin lagu, Sabtu recording. Alhasil setelah rek manggung bawa KB. Akhirnya udah beres, terus latihan lagi. Si Rangga tuh nggak bisa, dia pindah ke Jakarta. Terus ketemu Ilham di
tempat yoga. Yang belum tahu nih Ilham nih yogis. Certified nggak lu?
Enggak
juga.
Namaste gitu.
Namaste. Ayo ketemu Ilham, dulu juga sempet ya kita pengen bikin project zaman Melodic, pengen punya band Melodic sama Ilham dulu di Tuklot. Akhirnya ngabasan lah, terus main kurang jago kene.
Tapi kan nggak butuh jago.
Iya, awalnya kan masih mikir harus ngeband tuh harus jago, harus kalian itu 3an masih kurang. Akhirnya ketemu lah mikir siapa ya yang main skateboard, jago ngegitar, nyanyi kaset.
Oke.
Harus ganteng kan, harus ganteng. Lu
karena di situ kan keren,
jangan keren. Ngomongin skill mah ya.
Udahlah.
Dewa bujana aja. Akhirnya si Mario lah. Dan akhirnya si Mario lu ngontak terus ayo saya bantuin gitu ya untuk seasonal player. Terus akhirnya kita berempat main dulu kita sekali di Yos Radio buat itulah interview newcomers. Terus masih kurang berempat masih kurang nih pas manggung teh gitu, masih kurang aneh-aneh.
Sebenarnya mana yang aing nu kurang teh gitu.
Ya memang
bisa kan aja nutupinnya dari yang lain.
Iya memang. Harus tahu diri. Tahu diri wah saya terbatas nih skill.
Jadi hikmahnya teman-teman Hobotalks audience, as long as you have a good song, bikinan lu sendiri.
Iya.
Pede benar.
Dulu aku bikin kamu nyanyi jadi bagus kan?
Oh jelas.
Iya kan? Iya. Dapat, aku senang.
Iya.
Lagu bagus.
But actually serius gak? Buat gue nggak meter sih. Jadi kalau nanti lu bakal lihat live si Hollowcane, buat gue nggak meters. Jadi itu sebenarnya insecurities lu aja.
Ya,
buat gue lu proper in this band ya. In this band kayak memang shootnya vokal kayak Eger. Kalau dikasih
saya memang introvert asalnya gitu, jadi cuma bisa bikin lagu.
Gue tahu lah, modus-modusnya gue udah hafal lah. Bikin lagu kirim, gambar visual lagunya.
Akhirnya pas si Anjar tuh mikir si Anjar tuh DJ.
Okay.
Oh, saya pernah lihat Anjar main kan?
Gue juga pernah.
Yang datang gimana?
DJ Unjar.
Ini cocok kalau buat di panggung. Akhirnya ngontak DJ Anjar ayo bantuin sebagai
fansnya Anjar rata-rata adik-adik.
Sebenarnya sih bisa main.
Tadi gue lihat dia cuma pencet space.
Pencet aja sequence.
Iya.
Akhirnya yang penting look bagus kan. Akhirnya main lah berempat ya. Udah dari situ udah cocok. Terus udah kita hasilnya recording album launching. Udah sampai dengan sekarang gitu.
apa sih Gak?
Jadi si album itu sebenarnya tentang cinta, tapi kan cinta itu nggak untuk seseorang aja, untuk
banyak.
pasangan banyak gitu. Ada soalnya di dalam album itu ada yang tentang si Palestina, ada yang seriusan kita kolaborasi sama Marcella Muner, sama Afif.
Iya.
Terus ada
apa judulnya boleh tau nggak?
Wacana Dunia.
Bahasa Indonesia malah.
Satu bahasa Indonesia.
Satu-satunya yang lirik bahasa Indonesia.
Terus ada cinta tentang sama orang tua, ada tentang ibu saya.
Oh ya lu sama nyokap.
Ada tentang ibu, terus ada cinta tentang teman. Saya bikin lagu tentang teman saya, tentang dia juga ada gitu. Ya general lah, cinta in general sebenarnya. Jadi kalau
orang view-nya angle-nya banyak gitu ya. Gak cuman soal lawan jenis.
Iya, cuma lawan jenis. Jadi kalau makanya dibikinnya rada-rada puitis dikit, jadi nggak cuma tentang cinta seseorang.
Kalau lu Ki, yang gue lihat dari awal lebih duluan ketimbang anak-anak yang lain. Menanggapi proses kreatif Ega yang itu ada kendala nggak sih? Maksudnya dia kan kayak semua he already put all di plate gitu udah ada. Lu gimana? Ada kesulitan atau malah lebih gampang buat?
Malah lebih gampang malah.
Oke.
Malah pas recording dia sendiri recording duluan.
Oh, lu udah bikin
duluan, ya.
Bikin si apa namanya?
Jadi semua beres.
Udah beres, di get MIDI duluan, baru kirim. Soalnya kalau itu kan di luar kota kan.
Oke.
Baru kirim, semua udah beres, baru take drum.
Oh, jadi malah udah punya guide ya?
Iya.
Oh, oke.
Terakhir.
Kalau lu berdua gimana, Ham?
Waduh.
Sama dengan gaya kreatif yang kayak gitu malah lu lebih nyaman.
Lebih aman.
Lebih aman.
Lebih aman.
Lebih aman.
Kalau lu enggak? Jar gimana Jar?
Aman sih, tapi karena kebiasaan nge-DJ jadi si form lagu tuh ada hitungannya kan. Ega tuh kadang ada yang kagok hitungannya. Jadi suka bingung aja karena DJ hitungannya pas kan ada 4, 8, 16. Dia tiba-tiba ada ini kenapa ini? Jadi kadang suka
ganjil gitu.
Berubah.
Beda gitu hitungannya.
Moodnya kan ada gitu ya.
Iya.
Sini ya.
Karena lu kan harus prepare ya.
Iya, overall tapi ya lebih gampang aja sih ngikutin.
Ya, tapi buat album yang kedua ini sama Anjar kita ya udah tektokannya udah pas. Walaupun tetap yakinin beda.
Album yang kedua nih proses kreatifnya jelas beda ya?
Jelas beda.
Mulai ada keterlibatan dari teman-teman.
Ada input dari Mario juga gitu. Terus udah sama Anjar.
Ceritanya sama tetap soal angle-angle cinta.
Enggak sih, kayaknya enggak terlalu ke cinta sih, ke ya general aja apapun gitu. Ada yang ngomongin tentang ya dunia gitu, alam.
Oke. Jadi gue perhatiin sih Ega yang dulu ya sama gue dia agak casual kan, lirik-liriknya casual. Sekarang kayaknya lebih dalam ngomongin Palestina, ngomongin dunia.
Walaupun sebenarnya liriknya saya bikin lirik yang mudah dicerna aja.
Iya itu loh, biasanya begitu kan.
Soalnya biasanya kalau dengerin lagu orang tuh kadang nggak ngerti, jadi nggak bisa kejiwain gitu.
Iya. Hanya sih good songwriter sih, gue harus akuin Ega di situ. And then gue denger nih 2019 harusnya ada proyeksi ke Australia nih kan? 2020.
April 2020.
Setelah album.
Ada planning tour di Australia.
Jadi
cerita dikit coba.
2019 tuh saya cabut ke Australia buat ketemu sama promotor lah. Intinya saya pengen tour di sana merencana. Itu udah beres.
Oke.
Kan judulnya udah Son of the Month. Itu udah beres. Saya cabut karena udah paham situasi kota. Akhirnya cabut cari promotor dan segala macem. Direncanakan lah April tahun depan saya mau bikin tour gitu.
2020
akhirnya 2020 akhirnya semua udah berjalan lancar, sponsor udah mau masuk segala macem, kita udah mau kontrak, terus pamflet udah keluar, pamflet tanggal udah keluar, baru mau cabut buat visa, pandemi.
Maret April pandemi ya.
Pandemi kayaknya. Border tutup semua, jadi
Rolling
nggak bisa.
Stone nganggur kemana.
Iya.
Jadi suka ada yang nanya gitu bang ke gue, kegiatannya apa? Buku kan pandemi. Metallica di Arima mana anjing kayak gitu. Terus what's next nggak after yang 2020 nih pending? Ada proyeksi.
Saya jual gitar. Gantung gitar, menyerah. Nggak sih, nggak menyerah, ya udahlah.
Anjing aja nggak serius.
Dan akhirnya ya udahlah pending aja, bikin karya aja. Bikin karya akhirnya ngeluarin si video klip, single baru sama video klip tahun 2020 kayak.
Sekarang ada signal untuk aktivasi itu lagi nggak?
Iya, sekarang lagi proses lagi sama mereka.
Oke.
Mudah-mudahan
Australianya
dari Western Australia ke Melbourne nanti.
Oke, so gue sih sebagai teman dan mudah-mudahan Hobotalks audiens juga doain mudah-mudahan Hollowcane tahun ini bisa realisasi tournya Karena ya these guys kalau gue lihat sih gue agak telat ngikutin belakangan, gue pikir gitu. Ternyata memang baru bandnya 2009.
Baru band.
You should check them out. Apa ada website apa gak?
The Hollowcane aja.
The Hollowcane, Instagram, website ada.
Hollowcane.com.
Tapi kalau lu penasaran sih lu harus lihat YouTube-nya sih. Gue lihat tuh ini menarik sih gak? Lu memang gimana sih the way kamu bikin klip tuh gimana ya? Visualnya sorry itu say, it's okay, anjing gitu, keren gitu buat gue. Kayak pas pertama gue lihat dia visual pun kayak ini sih agak pisan sih buat gue. Ini kan kayak di luar ya, gue lihat di luar prosesnya.
Yang satu tuh di Itali, satu lagi di Poland. Yang Son of the Mountain itu bikinnya di Poland, jadi itu sebenarnya film.
Oke.
Film pendek yang dikolaborasiin jadi video klip.
Oh, oke. Jadi lu masih possible bikin event pandemik ya? Oke.
Dan menurut saya kalau misalkan liriknya bahasa Inggris terus berunyinya di Inggris, kalau misalkan udah mencoba ke sana lah arahnya, ya udah sekalian aja bikin klipnya di sana.
Bener banget sih, fit banget.
Nah, buat si wacana dunia nanti ya pengennya ada kitanya di sini karena memang bahasa Indonesia.
Oh, oke. Tapi lu tetap pengen ada kolaborasi sama luar atau enggak?
Pasti, karena udah enggak sih kalau si lagu wacana dunia tuh udah ada bahannya, cuma belum digarap aja sih sebenarnya.
Oh, oke.
Kita kerjasama sama Humanity, jadi dia kasih footage yang di Palestina segala macem mau diedit, cuma masih
lu producing gitunya di sini.
Editing sama masih ragu-ragu buat ngeluarinnya, takutnya jadi kayak kita ngejual.
Ya, isunya agak sensitif ya.
Agak sensitif, makanya ditahan dulu. Tapi udah ada sama bahannya. Sampai udah beberapa lagu tuh udah ada bahannya, tinggal diedit.
Sorry gue tarik dikit karena gue punya notifikasi itu sama klip lu si Son of the Mountain. Itu tuh prosesnya berarti dia di sana totally dia yang kerjain visual.
Iya,
lu sending lagunya dulu atau gimana?
Sending lagu.
Okay.
Ya beruntungnya si editornya emang lumayan peka kayaknya sama lirik, jadi kita kirimin nulis segala macem sesuai yang diharapkan aja.
Dapat banget sih, gue lihat A sampai Z-nya, head to toe-nya tuh si klip tuh
pas sama
fit banget, makanya sampai gue pikir sutradaranya lu. Tapi kan is impossible karena lu harus beli, kalau gue bilang ini kayak beli rights nih, gue udah bayar kan gitu kan. Ternyata memang ada kolaborasi. Son of the Mountain lu harus cek sih, Hollowcane, karena buat gue grande lah A sampai Z-nya gitu. Terus gue pernah, serius gue pas lihat tuh kayak langsung gue bilang anak-anak tim si Hobotalks kayak ini lah si Hollowcane gue bilang, dan anak-anak sama.
Sampai si produsernya datang ke Bandung. Si produser, si filmer sama si datang ke Bandung.
Yang kerjain visualnya.
Datang cuma buat ketemu aja. Nanti ada yang mau digarap lagi sama mereka gitu.
Oke, berarti masih ada kejutan-kejutan lainnya di Next in the Future.
Yes, kayaknya
terdekatnya ada apa kan?
Terdekatnya kita
album atau apa?
Lagi ngegarap album kedua.
Oke.
Nanti ngeluarin single kedua dulu, baru nanti album.
Planningnya ada kayak
akhir tahun saya pengennya sih tanggal yang sama di kayak album pertama.
Album pertama tanggalnya
Desember 2019.
Nah, sekarang pengen bikinnya
21 Desember 2022.
Why?
Nggak apa-apa.
Biar pas.
Tinggi tunggu.
Nggak ada. Udah alasan aja.
Oke, buat Hobotalks audience nanti after this kita akan lihat performance dari The Hollowcane. Lo kan bawain berapa lagu gak?
3.
Slosin enggak?
3 lagu. Apa aja tuh?
Yang apa ya? Son of the Mountain pasti dibawain.
Favorit gue tuh.
Terus Everything Needs Sorrow. Oh ya, ngomong-ngomong Everything Needs Sorrow tuh yang video klipnya main skate di Itali.
Oke.
Karena sesuai dengan konsepnya lah, itu emang Everything Needs Sorrow tuh lebih ke skateboard gitu.
Iya, dan
paling
fit banget sama karakter kepribadian kalian memang.
Iya. Habis itu kita bawain Walk Away bareng kamu ya.
Oke, nanti kita cobain ya.
Cobalah.
Buat yang penasaran, after this kita bisa lihat performanya Hollowcane. And thank you for coming, Hollowcane. Sukses semua rencana tuh, album dan lain-lain.
Thank you buat sama hadir.
This is the Blues Traveler. I'm signing out with Hollowcane.
Hi, hello Matt. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good. And you know what? We're so grateful and we're so glad that we found you. You are such an amazing, brilliant musician. So I was excited and a bit nervous actually for tonight. So thank you so much for your time.
You're most welcome. It's
and just like to share with our audience of Hobotalks in Indonesia. We always interview very talented, very brilliant musicians from all over the world. And tonight is your night. So where are you right now?
So I'm based in England. I'm based in London. I've lived in London for I think 10 years now. but I'm from an area called Hampshire, which is a county just further south, nearer the coast. But yeah, I lived in London and I live in South London.
We're just going to start my questions. There will be a lot of questions. I will sound like a fangirl because I am now.
Good.
So I just want to ask, is there any media in Indonesia before interview you?
Is there any media?
Us? Yeah, any media or...
No.
Oh my God.
I think, I actually think we hit it was bizarre, maybe 2 years ago, one of the songs, I think we hit the Indonesian singer-songwriter charts.
Wow.
I don't know how or why. The song was Oceans, I believe, and we hit the Indonesian singer-songwriter charts. I can't remember what number, which means it wasn't particularly high in the charts, but we hit the charts, and it always confused me because I was like, I've been to Indonesia once in my life, but I've never played there. And we've had no media, but lovely place.
But you shouldn't be surprised because I listened to all your singles or your songs. Man, really, I think I sent it to my list of questions. I was on a train the other day, looking at all the greeneries, nature, and it was drizzling, raining, and I was listening to all your songs, and it's chilling. So, you shouldn't be surprised if one of your songs in the chart in Indonesia, maybe after this, that all your songs will be in the charts, the new one.
Fingers crossed, but I'm glad to hear that you listened to it while it was raining outside. I think that's the picture that most people have when they put my music on. It seems to be a bit of a rainy day. They're not the happiest of songs, but they're they mean something.
No, I think it's the sweetest song because my question is when you imagine you walking with your first love at the beach, something romantic, somewhere romantic, and listen to all your songs. That's the vibe that we get. I think you speak to our souls and we get it.
Yeah, I think that's really lovely to hear because I think I only write the music when it speaks to my soul or in my mind, and that I really care about the subject matter. And I think music has this amazing ability to say or to affect a person and their mentality and their soul. Because if I write about a subject that I care deeply about, and there's integrity in the songwriting, and it means something, and you can hear the emotion, it doesn't matter if the listener isn't sharing that exact same emotion. It can help them through a different emotion. It's just an expression, and I think music is for those people or for anyone who needs help expressing their emotions or wants a vessel to express it. Any music that is written in that way can help you do it, even if it's the different subject matter. So it's really funny when I hear people talk about the music and where they're listening to it. If they're listening to it on the beach, walking down with someone they love, or it's a breakup, or they miss someone, or their dog has died. The music can speak to people. So but it all comes down to that expression of emotion, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess underlying is you can feel your emotion. You write it through your soul, feelings. It involves feelings. It's not just lyrics and just songs or instruments or whatever, but you kind of trying to say something and you get it. So I think that's to me, I said this to a couple of my musicians that I interviewed before, because how do you know someone is very talented and they really pour their heart out to their work is when people feel it, and then yours is like that. So now come to the next questions. We want to hear your history, your story, why did you decide to be a musician? And also when I listen to all your songs, it's very clean, it's very professional. Your voice is very much very controlled. So this is obviously not just a year or 2 years experience for you. So please feel free to share your story with us.
Okay, so I don't think I chose to be a musician. I think this is it's something that just sort of happened, and I think it happened through a love of music and a necessity of playing music. So I'm completely self-taught. So I taught myself I play guitar, piano, and sing, and I taught myself the instruments. So I play them by ear. And what that means is I didn't have formal training. So as a result, the way I got into it was I was really lucky when I was younger, when I was maybe between 8, 9. There was a piano in my house, a pretty ditzy piano that was out of tune, and no one in my family played. And there was a guitar. My older brother was a really good guitarist, or at the time was learning as well. He's a couple of years older. So I had instruments around, and I picked them up and just started teaching myself how to play and messing around with it. And for a few years, I was just playing the instruments, and I wasn't singing, and I just loved music. And I found it a really great pastime rather than playing games or anything. It was mainly just I loved picking up instruments. And when I hit about 14 years old, I realized I started singing, and I was terrible, right? Like anyone starting out singing, there's this old adage that people think you've got, a natural talent for singing, you're born singing. No, everyone starts off pretty crap at singing. It's just if you spend long enough doing something, you get a bit better at it. And I was really rubbish, but I started playing covers, and I started really singing the songs that I loved. And I picked my favorite songs, play them on the guitar badly at 14 and sing along with them. And then I realized I loved doing it because it was really therapeutic, and it was a way of me escaping the day. Not necessarily a terrible day or an amazing day, just every day you go you're into your head, play a bit of music, and it was a break. And I loved that. And that developed into me taking these songs that I was kind of learning, listening to, trying to play by ear, and then putting my own lyrics over the top. So I started this writing process where I said, I learned that if I begun almost singing my issues or how I was feeling in any way to the melody of someone else's song, it really helped me, and I loved it. And I came away thinking, I feel better about this situation. I really love this. And so as a result, I would lock myself in my bathroom in my house, because anyone who plays music knows that the acoustics in a bathroom are fantastic. Yeah. And at 14, 15, 16, I just spent hours in there kind of singing. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but writing. And at the time, I was just having fun singing, but I was in fact kind of writing songs about issues in my life, loves, loss, problems at school, whatever it is. And then when I got to the 16 mark, I'd been doing that for quite a few years, and I started playing music more in front of friends, just in groups, and singing. And
what year was this? Like, how old were you when you started to perform in front of people?
So my first gig, performing in front of friends, or just playing or singing a little bit, maybe 16, 17. And at 17, someone asked me if I wanted to play a couple of songs at a local library for a charity gig, which at the time was like, whoa, this is my first gig.
It's still wow, it's for charity, so it's for
which was fantastic, and it was sort of if I remember rightly, it's like 20 people sat around a library listening to me play 2 or 3 songs. I think from memory, I think I would have done one of my own songs maybe, and 2 covers. Probably some dodgy Jason Mraz cover back in 12 years ago, and that was really the start of it, because it was a really natural progression to get to that point. I just loved playing and singing and writing, and a couple of friends who also did it just said, come along and do this show. And after that, I got offered a gig at the back of that show by a promoter back in my hometown who happened to be there. And it kind of spiraled from there. And I think, so my journey to performing was really natural. And it comes from a love of just sitting there for years, purely for myself, right? No, I wasn't doing this for any altruistic reasons. I just loved playing. It was very therapeutic for me. And I just would sit down for hours by myself and just play and sing other people's songs, write my own songs, with no intention of becoming a musician, because I didn't know any musicians, and I wasn't trained. I wasn't doing music, at college or anything. So there wasn't this end game for me to be a musician. That it just kind of happened. And then you flash forward a few years, and I started playing some festivals on the south of England, some small festivals, in a couple of bands, which were great fun, terrible names. I think one of them was called Port Eden. and we came up with a name because I don't know if you've got Scrabble in Indonesia. I'm assuming you've got Scrabble,
yeah.
but
Yeah, we do.
we took we spelt out all of our names in the band using Scrabble, and then mixed them up, and then tried to come up with a name using all of our letters.
And that's what you guys came up with.
Yeah, it's not good. And if I'm being, great band though. So, but that was my only time I kind of veered away from doing any music which isn't under my own name. I was very, very briefly in that, but yeah, played some festivals, and then I met a producer at a festival who said she wanted to do some recording, and then my first independent EP was released, and it kind of built from there.
When was this? Which year was this?
So I released my first EP, which is a 3-track EP called Everlast, and I released that I think in 2017, I think.
Thinking about performances, right? I mean, you just did a performance, like it was postponed. I mean, like back in February, it was postponed because of all this pandemic and all the, the situation. I'm not supposed to say that, but it is what it is, right? So like, how is it? Because you said you performed a lot in the past 5 years, and then, like we all know what happened in the past years, and everything is kind of restricted, especially for creatives, for musicians. So how did you feel after a while? And then I know absorb the energy of the audience, and then the vibes and all your music, just like performing in front of people, kind of like pouring your heart out into through your music. How did you feel? How was it after a while?
Yeah, I mean, so we've done so much touring. I've done a lot of touring. When I released my EP, Memos EP, which is a 5-track EP, which kind of contained the Oceans track, Distance, Promise, and that was the real one. That's the EP we got signed on. It's the EP that really took the music to the next level. What we did after that was, that EP we toured across New Zealand, across sort of 3-4 countries in Europe, a couple of shows in London, played some shows in Canada. We did so many shows, primarily in Europe. Some of them were sort of like 30 gigs across 40 days, and
wow.
Across especially Netherlands and Germany. They're really big markets for us. That was a really massive part of our development. Playing live has been the biggest outreach for us. Spotify gives you the reach from a numbers perspective, but making connections with people and building loyalty in a fan base, which I think is the most important thing to do for a sustainable music career, is build loyalty in a fan base. To be able to do that has been such a privilege. And when COVID hit, I count myself lucky really. We hadn't planned to do that many shows that year. I think maybe 10 shows. So we cancelled, I think maybe all in across COVID, only 10 shows. We were hesitant about booking shows in COVID. There was that period where everyone thought it was going to be a couple of months, so we were delaying things.
Yeah, exactly.
We were kind of hesitant. We rebooked some stuff and then had to cancel again. So we were very hesitant, but it was a tough time because my love for music and the band's love, I've got a great band I play with. Their love for playing live, my love for playing live is the reason we do music. And for that to go away was really tough. And trying to stay relevant in an industry, we don't have massive major label budgets. We don't have hundreds of thousands of pounds being thrown at marketing left, right and center. What I do have is I'll go to countries, play in front of audiences, have great experiences, share those with some people so they get a bit of an insight as to what it's like touring. And so it's a really big part for us, and we've really missed it. And in October last year, we did our first sort of small tour back past COVID, and we did it in the Netherlands. We did 5 shows. And it was so funny because for the first time in about a decade, I hadn't played live in about a year and a half. And I forgot how much
We used to have that muscle memory, quote unquote.
It's the muscle memory, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. It's the muscle memory. You forget. Yeah. So I remember walking on stage, and you sound check and you do everything, and I remember I sing with my eyes closed, right? I play and sing pretty much with my eyes closed quite a lot. And it's just because I'm in that moment. And if any guitarist or keys player, work their soul, they can do their job with their eyes closed, right? It's muscle memory, that's fine. when I'm singing and doing that, what I forgot is I've got a microphone in front of me, and I wasn't used to my positioning on stage because it's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I kept headbutting the microphone because my eyes are closed. I'm walking through and headbutting this thing. Yeah, and it's one of those really funny things. And we then realized, wow, if you spend a year and a half without playing music live, it's the little things you forget about. And we really came together as a band for that moment. And it was such an amazing feeling to be back on stage, seeing, a fan base out there who stayed with us, who were loyal through COVID, turned out, and to see, and a lot of the people, it was their first gig back in also a year and a half, 2 years. For some people, one of my last shows was out in Amsterdam before COVID hit in January, and we did our biggest ever headline show in Amsterdam. And we were about to jump on to do a lot more bigger shows, and then COVID hit. And for a lot of people, who came out to see me play, it was their last show before COVID was my show, and their first show back was my show.
Your show. Wow, that's amazing.
Remember how the grass seems so much sweeter, and oh, glisten in the morning light, sunrise. We chased this daily battle where my mind once held the power to think alone and free and let the birds I used to name. Remember how she stitched your name inside the seams. Well, to all I thought I can, I swear I'd restart to breathe. When mine was never closed to play, and never fading, hide away. I love to see the world through those eyes again. And how I love to see the world through those eyes again. The greener grass, oh, the innocence inside my head, and how I long to be young again. Remember when all the enemies were friends to be, and how I long to be young again. And how I long to be young. Remember how they never choose to leave it, and oh, safe from every heartache for the while. When grace was never thought of, you're protected from the moonlight. How I love to see the world through those eyes again. And how I love to see the world through those eyes again. Greener grass, oh, the innocence inside my head, and how I long to be young again. Remember when all the enemies were friends to be, and how I long to be young again. The greener grass, oh, the innocence inside my head, and how I long to be young again. Remember when all the enemies were friends to be, and how I long to be young again. And how I long to be young.
They love your music, so.
No, and it was amazing, and they came out, and it was just such a privilege, and it really put smiles on our faces, because to play live for people is such a wonderful experience to share your music, and I feel very lucky doing it. And to play with some of my best friends on stage, music that I've written that means so much to me, and then to hear about when I do meet and greets afterwards, how much it means to them, and how much a track has inspired them or helped them. It's just the best experience. And COVID was tough, but we came back out swinging.
And it's worth it. It was worth it. That's amazing. And then now you talk about your bandmates, right? How did you meet them? You say they're your best friends, because I saw your video, one of your videos, okay? Because most of your videos like without you in it or something. But like I saw like they're amazing. I can see the chemistry, because I understand when you perform a band or like you have like other people on the stage with you, you have to have like this really strong chemistry. So like, how did you find them? Or like, did you start this career kind of like supported with them? Not supported, like with them, sharing the same journey with them? Or
yeah, so no, I didn't.
Meet them.
I didn't start with the guys. I started solo, and I played for so many years as a solo artist, which I think is good actually. I think it really taught me to hold my own on stage. It really taught me that I can't rely on backing tracks or great musicians to prop me up. The tracks have to be great tracks, really well written and really well performed, and then you have to hold a crowd by yourself. And that is a really big skill I think that people should learn. I think if you're in, depends on the genre you're in, but you need to get your stage presence really right, and get the confidence to go, I'm going to play this entire song start to finish, chat to the crowd in between, hold them, keep them engaged, and then move on and create a dynamic set. So I started out doing that, and over time, they're I consider the guys in the band, all of them are best mates. And the reason they're best mates, they didn't start out as best mates. They started out as, most of them, friends of friends. And it was a whole host. I was in the studio one night with my producer, and she was saying we should lay down some strings on this track, and she called up the string player, and they came into the studio. We happened to be from the same one of them from the same hometown, one of them were friends of friends, and we just got on really well. And it really naturally grew in that we loved playing or recording together, and then we did more, and then we did more. And they came, and then suddenly they were at every show. And then I met a keys player at a gig for someone else's gig. And again, that was really natural, just chatting about music, chatting about love of performing. I think I saved him in my phone as Piano Man because I forgot his name. And about a year and a half later, he's Piano Man. Yeah, so
is it still? No.
It's not still. I changed it. I probably should have kept it, but I changed it. And then called him up a year and a half later and said, Piano Man, are you keen to come lay down some keys for a track? And it was like, yeah, of course. And then equally later on, I've now added another electric guitarist and backing vocalist in who was part of another band who I loved and thought they were brilliant, and he's just incredible. So it's been really organic the way that we've grown the band. And my producer became my drummer as well. That's been brilliant. But who knows my music better than my producer, and she's fantastic. And so, it's really organic, and I love the way that it's grown, because from solo to 2 to 3 people, we've managed to get every single component right as it goes through. And what it's meant is when you're building a band, you're building, because everything's under my name, I've got these tracks, I play these tracks, and the band needs to come in and mold well. It needs to lift the track. It doesn't have to change the track. It just has to complement the music and create a really dynamic soundtrack. So building a band really carefully and organically enables you to focus on every increment in size, enables you to focus really, really well on each individual point. So every time you add something, it just complements it. It really just tucks in really nicely to create another little beautiful soundscape. And that's what we've done with the band, and it's worked really well. And it's a privilege I get to play with them, because they are, and I mean this, much better musicians than me. People, you always laugh. Lead singers and people who write the tracks are not anywhere near normally the best musicians in the band. You look at the guys in the band are incredible. Some of them session musicians, and very lucky to play with them.
Yeah, because when I watch your videos, it's really well crafted together. I don't know how I put it but I put it like that, because everything is just like hit it, you know, like the notes when you sing solo, when your backing vocals, you know, like everyone. I know it's not only you. When I watch that, I don't only watch Matt, but also like everyone in the video, you know. So I really appreciate everyone. That's why I want to hear the story about them as well. So I mean, right,
and you're right. And this is the key thing. You know, it's the funny thing is that we're not actually a particularly well rehearsed band. And I think because, you know, timing is tough, people are busy, and but what we do have and what we built was this real connection with each other, where we understand each other's playing, and there's a term called like musicality, right? And some musicians are just good musicians, right? And other musicians are just really get in tune with the exact like nature of the song, the people they're playing with, and they really understand the other musicians in the band and what they'll do. And that's the key thing to what I think we've managed to get to, and why I'm so lucky with the musicians I've got, is that I'm running and sometimes I'll change a song. Sometimes I'll read the room, or I'll take a song and slow it down slightly, or I'll change the key, or I'll read the room and work out how I want this song to be portrayed in this moment. And often I don't tell the band because it happens in the moment, and they have to be so switched on and be in that moment, look at what I'm doing and react. And that musicality is so important to be able to react to the room, react to the let's say the lead singer or the guitarist at the time who's changing it to do that. And that's when things feel like they're gluing together. The other one is a bit of a cheat sheet for anyone who wants to do music. If you add live strings to any song, it just becomes the best song in the world. So like, I'm obsessed. If you add cello and violin to anything, it's automatically a decent song. That's a bit of a cheat sheet for you guys.
No, it's a good advice for our audience. I don't know, maybe, you know. Okay, so now I want to talk about your songs again. So like Through Those Eyes again, I was listening over and over again, obviously, before I interviewed you, right? And just now I watched again your video, and to be honest, it makes me kind of emotional because some of the lyrics kind of hit me. Again, like all your listeners, they can, you know, like kind of imagine themselves in one situation. You mentioned the dog died, you know, broke up, or just made a new lover, or whatever. So I wanna know the story behind this song. And for me personally, I love Blackbird song and Oceans. I don't know, I really wish, because I saw like the lyrics video, I was like, I want him, I wish maybe one day Matt will make an official music video with you in it, or actors, so I don't know. But like, I just think these three songs, all of your songs are specials. This is just me personally, I think these three songs just like speak to my soul. Like, it's so beautiful, and I want to know the story behind it, like the lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, Through Those Eyes again was a really funny one, because I wrote that at home actually, and which makes sense. Through Those Eyes again it's basically just a nostalgic track about being a kid, right? It's you know, everyone will tell you, and you get told this growing up, you know, enjoy the days when you're a child, because suddenly things become far more important, stressful. You become far more self-aware and socially aware of everything going on around you, which tends to cloud your mind. But when you're a kid, I just have so lucky to have such great memories of feeling very carefree, and feeling, when I was running in a park playing football with friends, my only thought process, the only thing I was thinking about was that in that moment. And I thought it's such a wonderful thing that you lose as an adult. Like, you know, you really do lose that as an adult, which is great because there's loads of other benefits. But what I was trying to capture was that idea of, imagine if we could see the world again through those eyes as a child. Imagine if we operated in life in that same mentality. And I think that's what I was trying to capture. And then what it did though was it just made me go through what were the core feelings I had as a kid. And it's those core memories I had growing up. And, you know, remembering, for me, it was, I lived in the countryside, so it was like running through the dark.
Boy.
You know, and it's like the first lyric is, you know, it's like, remember how the grass was so much sweeter, and I remember, it's glistening in the morning light, and that was really key for me, because you wake up and it's this like dewy grass and like playing football or going parks or whatever, and that's what absorbed it. Or watching, my mum stitch my name into the back of t-shirts. And I think those core memories, it's not about where you are in the world, what you're doing in the world. It was very pure. And I think to try and get back at that and trying to take some of those lessons and that viewpoint and put it into today's world was my, I guess, attempt for that song.
That's what we want to highlight as well to them. Do you have any other advices for our audience? Maybe young, potential, because a lot of like talented people here in Indonesia. It's just that you kind of like block, like inside they block themselves from, like doing what they love because of, I don't know, maybe like financial reason, or their family don't support it, or they are kind of, I'm not good enough to go international, all these things. So I don't know, do you have any advice for the young talented musicians who just started in Indonesia?
Absolutely, and I think I think it's an exciting time to join the industry, and to be a creative or a musician in Indonesia. I think what previously would have blocked people before is this whole idea about being an international artist. Used to be, is there funding for me to go and tour around the world? And the only time you'd ever get funding to tour around the world and be international is if you've got a #1 album, you've got insane charts. But this isn't the case nowadays. If you have access to the internet and you have a phone and you have a passion, you can push yourself out there. There are so many avenues to get your music heard. But the big piece of advice I think I would have is keep true to yourself in your creative style, from a writing perspective and a performing perspective. Be the artist that you want to be, not what you think other people want you to be. And I think that's so key from a music point of view, because if you're writing and performing and trying to create yourself into a musician to mirror someone else, that other person will be doing it better than you will. If you write for yourself in your own style and what you love, that passion will come through, that expression will come through, and people will listen. And I battled against this for ages with the style and genre I work in. People are liking probably what could be described as slightly more modern music, pushes, movements towards charting. The big thing I get is reduce the length of your songs, get to the chorus within 20 seconds, do this. Well, I'll do that if the song warrants that. If it makes sense for the song artistically for me and the writing style to do that. But it's almost always the case that actually you don't have to listen to that. You just have to write what you believe in, put passion into it, love what you're doing, and people will eventually listen. And with the exposure now from TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, you can get yourself heard around the world. That barrier isn't there anymore. And if people are listening and you get some traction in a country, that's when you can go, I'm going to email every single venue in that country, and I'm going to go around that country and play as many places as I possibly can. So I think, as cliche as it sounds, staying true to yourself creatively and not being scared to put yourself out there is really, really key. And when you do, and for those musicians who are slightly more advanced in their careers, don't sell yourself out too quickly from a rights perspective. Just keep hold of you and your creative assets for as long as possible. Don't rush to build too quickly. And that thing I said earlier in the interview, I think is really key, which is building loyalty. Go and play in front of people.
Yeah. You may not be the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. You don't have to be. Just create to create. Rock and roll.